That is dangerous talk. And that is, again, something which that person has been guilty of multiple times before in the past, despite the fact that, of course, that rightly he said that it was wrong that what happened to Charlie Kirk last night, that there is, a culture of violence and a celebration of violence in parts around politics in the States. We can't let that happen here as well.
Simon Harris has been very keen that he doesn't want the discussion around all of this tend to become a binary around whether he's going to continue in public life. I mean, there was a statement that he put out last Saturday, which was before the series of bomb threats that were made to his home, in which he said that this was a clear campaign to intimidate him out of public life. And he didn't add the usual disclaimer of it will not win. And which then kind of, media abhors a vacuum, nature abhors a vacuum, politics abhors a vacuum. So people will start wondering then, well, are you openly talking about it? And at the Fine Gael thinking, you heard the clip a little while ago, he was asked, are you considering your role in public life? And he didn't want to reduce it to a binary question. And it shouldn't be. And we should discuss the culture that has emerged where somehow some of these things are now, although not becoming legitimised, they're becoming normalised. But there is still a question as to, well, if he decides that such is the culture now, that he doesn't want to be in public life anymore, well then what hope is there for anybody?
Do we think that we are now inevitably moving to a position, I think, in this country where politicians aren't as accessible, where government figures aren't as immediately accessible, that you can't just wander up in the street and bump into a minister of the government or the Taoiseach?
As in, do you think we need to tighten the security? Potentially.
Well, I think it's inevitably going to go this way. I just think that's where we're at. And when you see, and we'll come back to the argument that was being made about it, but there was rhetoric being kicked up over the course of the last week about Simon Harris, particularly personally, somehow anti-democratically conspiring to keep preferred candidates of people on the internet off the ballot paper in the Oris election. Elon Musk, the owner of one of the websites where all of that has been pushed, very much to the fore of that, saying that he's basically not listening to the will of the people of Ireland. That is dangerous talk. And that is, again, something which that person has been guilty of multiple times before in the past, despite the fact that, of course, that rightly he said that it was wrong that what happened to Charlie Kirk last night, that there is, a culture of violence and a celebration of violence in parts around politics in the States. We can't let that happen here as well.